What's going on, guys? It's Team Cowboy for Gaming. I'm Perry. This is the hat. We got a new guy over here. His name's Cody.
Hi.
So, what brings you into Yu-Gi-Oh, Cody?
I actually stepped out of the game for a while because I stopped playing it as a kid, and then when I came Eastern for college, a friend of mine showed me the game again, and I got back into it. So
When did you drop out?
it's been so long, I forgot.
Okay. And what's your thoughts on the game as of now? Just like with how you've been playing with others since you got back in.
It's extremely fun so far, so that I have fun playing games and playing with friends and trying to figure out more strategies that I didn't have access to before.
Okay. Anything you'd like to tell us so far?
Not necessary.
That's all right. What do you want to help bring to Team Cowboy for game?
The biggest thing that I have or that I feel like I can help with is deck ideas with profiles and stuff, and being able to possibly play some games and stuff like that.
Playtesting is
I
important.
tend to be able to adapt to new decks very quickly as I play them due to previous experience in other card games. So.
All right. And speaking of deck profiles, you have a deck with you here today, right?
Yes, I actually helped a friend of mine build a Cyber Dragon deck because he was falling out of the game. So,
You pulled them right back in.
yeah, so I spent time putting a deck together for him so that I could try to get him to play again.
All right. So why don't we get straight into that deck profile then?
So, the deck I made for my friend is pure Cyber Dragon. There's no other engine in here. And because of that, it's designed to be a board breaking deck. It's not really designed to combo or anything. And first of all, obviously, our first monster that we got here is the main point of the deck, Cyber Dragon. It's a main card that you use to go into any of your extra deck monsters, and it's even an extender in and of itself if your opponent has more monsters than you. Next we have Cyber Dragon Core, which is your main normal summon. Because if when you normal summon, you're able to search out one of your cyber spells and traps from the graveyard, or from the deck, sorry. And if it's in the graveyard, then you can use it to add a Cyber Dragon, or special summon a Cyber Dragon from deck, if you banish it. After those two, I have Cyber Dragon Hers, I got 3 of as well. This is a really good extender. You can use a lot of things like Rev System or other special summoning techniques to special summon him to allow him to become level 5 and use him for Xyz plays. And then in addition to that, if he is sent to the graveyard, then he allows you to add a Cyber Dragon from deck to hand. After Hers, we have Noxter, another extender. His point is you can special summon him by discarding another monster card, and then when he's special summoned or normal summoned, you can target a monster or a machine monster in your graveyard with 2100 attack, and special summon it. So you generally use it to special summon back one of your Cyber Dragons so that you can continue doing more plays. After Noxter, I actually have a card that most Cyber Dragon decks don't run, being Cyber Dragon Veer. He's mainly used for link plays to allow the deck to go into other link monsters, because his effect states that he can special summon himself whenever a Cyber Dragon is summoned. And because every Cyber Dragon in the deck has their name become Cyber Dragon when they hit the board, it can be special summoned with any Cyber Dragon that's being summoned. And then for my last monster, main deck monster, that is. I actually run 3 Galaxy Soldiers because they are level 5 light machines that can special summon themselves. So just another really good target for going into your main extra deck stuff. After that, we have our spells. Obviously the biggest spell, or one of the biggest spells you want to run, is Cyber Rev System. It's both a Monster Reborn and a special summon from hand for any Cyber Dragon monster you might need to get out on the board. Next is Machine Duplication. This is really good because what it does is it actually targets a machine monster you control with 500 or less attack and allows you to search your deck for 2 more copies of it. Because the main monsters you want to get onto the board are Hers, Noxter, and Core, all 3 of them have 500 or less attack, and their name becomes Cyber Dragon. So after they get put, or after you activate Machine Duplication, you can then add or special summon 2 Cyber Dragons straight from the deck, allowing you to pretty much just go into more plays. The next thing we actually have here is, since you want to go second and stop your opponent as best as possible, I main deck 3 Dark Ruler No Mores from the Gold Sarcophagus tins because it's just the best card so far for negating decks that come with a bunch of negations. Allowing you, it also sets up for the next card here, Dark Hole. I run 3 of them because, one, if you play them without Dark Ruler, then and your opponent has a negate that they would normally use on a monster effect to stop any of the combos that you might have, they instead have to waste it on Dark Hole to attempt to not lose their board. And if they only have monster negations, Dark Hole just gets rid of their board. If you pair Dark Hole with Dark Ruler, then that's just a board wipe as a whole because Dark Ruler negates their effects and Dark Hole would then wipe them. After that, going to 2 ofs, I run 2 Cyber Repair Plants, which I use whenever, or generally mid-link summoning, I use it to search up more monsters to add to hand. Because whenever a Cyber Dragon is in graveyard, you can either add one of the Cyber Dragons from grave back to hand, or you can search a light machine monster from your grave or from your deck to your hand. Generally, it's the search that's the better of the choice, unless you have a way to special summon the person that you're bringing back. The next 2 of is currently arguably the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh, being Super Polymerization. It's my main fusion, or currently it's my main fusion spell. I use it to summon multiple of the Super Poly fusion targets, as well as one main deck target for myself. That's situational, but works very well. Next, I have 2 instant fusions, which are generally used to summon a extra deck monster called Panzer Dragon, which you'll see soon. Panzer Dragon's a light machine level 5, so you use it to go into Nova, and it's just a free special summon in a spell. And then finally for the 1-ofs, I run 1 for 1, which is generally used for discarding pretty much any monster you can't use at the moment to special summon either Hers from the deck or Noxter from the deck so that you can get more stuff out. Next is I run 1 Foolish Burial. This is normally used to send Hers to the graveyard to add a Cyber Dragon to hand because it just turns a Foolish Burial into a Cyber Dragon, allowing you to extend yourself. I run 1 Monster Reborn. I use it as an extender on my turn, or if I really need to take one of my opponent's monsters. And then also 1 Raigeki for the same reason why I run Dark Hole. And then finally onto the extra deck, I run for super polymerization targets. I run 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp, mainly for protection, since it requires 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types, and it just protects monsters that have the same type as it. I run 1 Predaplant Dragostapelia, which requires a fusion monster which the deck can easily get out, or if your opponent has one, and 1 Dark Monster. It is not only does it have a decent body, but it weakens and negates monster effects for your opponent. I run 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon to generally fuse 2 monsters off my opponent's field, so that I can get a beater to try to beat over the rest of their board. On my targets, I have Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. It's situational, but it's really, really good if you're trying to go for the win. And then it may be rare, but I also have Panzer Dragon, which can not only be summoned by instant fusion, but if your opponent has a dragon monster, it can also be an super polymerization target. Other fusion monsters that don't require fusions that I have are 2 Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragons, and this is also considered probably the best card in the deck and what makes it so viable, because all it requires is 1 Cyber Dragon monster and 1 monster in either player's extra monster zone. So you can contact fuse it with your monster in your opponent's extra monster zone, kind of similar to a kaiju, but without giving your opponent a monster. Next to links, I run 1 Cliffort Genius. This is just a generic machine link 2 that has 2 down arrows, and it also has the ability to negate 2 cards, which is really nice because if I control a Cyber Dragon, I can target the Cyber Dragon on my field and whatever monster I want to attempt to negate on my opponent's field, allowing me to get a free negate because Cyber Dragon's effect is either not usable at that point in time or has already been used. I also run 1 Platinum Gadget, again, generic machine link 2 with 2 down arrows. It also allows me to special summon a level 4 or lower machine monster from my hand to a zone this points to. The only problem is that this monster itself cannot be used for a link summon, so it's just kind of stuck. But the whole point of the deck is to break your opponent's board and then swing in as much as possible. So he just ends up getting used as a main attacker. And then I also run 2 Cyber Dragon Seegers. It's another monster that's either used to get the next main runner out of the main monster zone, or out of the extra deck zone, or I can link it with one of my previous link monsters to point to the side. Its main effect just allows you to make one of your Cyber Dragons bigger, and then upon doing so, or for the turn, sorry, and then upon doing so, Cyber Dragon, no one takes combat damage when attack is including him. Next, we have the main monsters that you want to summon in the deck, and the whole reason why I run so many level 5 machines. We have 2 Cyber Dragon Novas. They are rank 5 light machine monsters. They require 2 level 5 light machines, and its main effect is that you can detach one of its materials and then target a Cyber Dragon Cyber Dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it back to the field. And then off of the next monster's effect, Cyber Dragon Infinity, off of Cyber Dragon's Infinity's effect, you can rank up Nova into Infinity once a turn, and Infinity allows you to take your opponent's monsters as materials for itself, as well as negate opponent's effects by removing those materials, and it gets bigger for each material on it. So if you end up being forced to go first, Infinity is a good card to end on so that you end on a possible negate for your opponent. If you're going second, you can use it as both a negate and as a take because you can take a monster off their field. And that is so far all of the extra deck.